Hello, and welcome to Preemie Chats, a place for parents and healthcare professionals to gather, share stories, and learn from each other. My name is Jenna Morton. I'm one of three co-hosts who present this weekly series on behalf of the Canadian Premature Babies Foundation. I'm a career broadcast journalist and mom to three NICU grads, including preemie twins who were born at 32 weeks and are now 12 years old. I live and work in Mi'kma'ki, outside of Moncton, New Brunswick. Well, Preemie Chats is the creation of the Canadian Premature Babies Foundation. The foundation is a parent-led charity that helps families during and after their NICU time through education, support, and advocacy. I hope that you will take some time and visit the website. You can see it there on your screen, canadianpreemies.org. On the website, you will find all kinds of resources, links to our previous Preemie Chats, links to this recording once it's finished. You can find our podcast, our parent handbooks. Most importantly, you will find a community of parents and professionals who are working together to help our children thrive. Well, we are definitely a parent-led foundation, and as such, we love to hear from you, whether you are a parent or a healthcare professional, a grown preemie, someone who works in the industry. Please let us know where you are joining from today. Let us know in the comments. Let us know what brings you to Preemie Chats. And please, as we go through today, join in the conversation. Feel free to let us know not just where you're watching from and what brings you here, but what you think about our discussion today. And if you have questions for our guest, please do ask them in the comments. We will have a chance to respond to them as we go through today. Well, today's discussion, I think, is going to be absolutely fantastic and fabulous, and I can't wait to dive in. Comfort food is a thought, it looks and it tastes a little bit different for each person, but that need for it is universal. And one NICU mom is now on a mission to make sure that other families are nourished during their time sitting beside their babies in the NICU. Kayla Schwarz struggled with having easy access to healthy snacks during her NICU time, so the mom of three decided she wanted to create a program to help others in the same situation. Arielle's snack bar is now in place in Toronto. It's just held its first major fundraiser, the Carnival for Care. We're going to hear all about the program and how it came about when Kayla joins us. Hello, Kayla.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us and for creating such a fantastic foundation that we're going to learn about.
Thank you.
Before we dive into Arielle's snack bar and the work that you're doing with that, could we start by knowing a little bit more about you and Arielle?
Yeah, of course. So you mentioned briefly, I am a mom of three. I have a son, a daughter, and then a daughter, Arielle, 5, 3, and 1 years old. My pregnancy with Arielle was probably my most complicated one. Nothing major, but she definitely brought me into the hospital a fair bit, which was funny. Just thinking of the third kid, I didn't anticipate that, of course. And then she ended up coming at 32 weeks. And we had her at Mount Sinai, and she was at Sinai for the first 4 days before we were transferred over to St. Michael's Hospital, where we spent the remaining month of March of last year.
I think it's so interesting for me to hear a mom talking about 32 weeks and that time of year, because it's very similar to our timing 12 years ago. Our boys were born in February, and we were there until just after St. Patrick's Day. And so I have a very vivid memory of what it's like to be in the NICU during that time of year with kids at home. We only had one at home, not two at the time. Talk a little bit about what you found to be some of the big challenges in being in the NICU.
Sure. So obviously having my two children at home, that caused me to have to really properly plan with our family. The challenges though in the hospital were obviously the access to food, and just I found it very hard for me to nourish myself in such in that time frame. Like I never wanted to leave my daughter's room. I wanted control over everything, and in that environment you really have to relinquish the control and trust your doctors and trust your nurses, and that was really, really hard for me. I didn't go into obviously this pregnancy thinking that I would land in the NICU, especially after having 2 healthy pregnancies. So just all of it was a bit of just a new outlook and like a new kind of mindset that I needed to just adjust to. And I did it fairly quickly, just given my personality. And like, I just knew that no matter like, I had to obviously worry about my own recovery and after my C-section and all of that. But it was right away, when can I see my baby? What do I need to do to get there? What's the schedule? When can I change a diaper? I was very grateful for, that hands-on type of care at Sinai, where I was able to show, like I am a mom, I know what I'm kind of doing, and I just want to be there for my baby. So those are kind of my own mental challenges with myself.
And before we started, you and I were talking a bit about, when you do have some of those experiences where you do feel a little bit of sense of control over the situation, when you do feel like, okay, I'm getting to do the things that I want in terms of taking care of my baby, it gives you sometimes that space to say, okay, I do also need to take care of myself, and what do I need to do that, and to see where some of the shortfalls might be depending on your situation. And so would love for you to kind of explain how the idea came about that you wanted to do something to help others with nourishing themselves.
So I found the handling times in the NICU that was kind of the biggest struggle for me, was somebody telling me when I can hold my daughter and for how long I can hold my daughter, and how many times in a day I can hold her, just adjusting to that schedule, and understanding, why it's in place was a bit of a challenge. And in that time, I didn't want to go eat something and not be there exactly for that handling time, because then somebody else, like the nurse, basically would be the one that was going to start the feed. And then, she would be with Arielle, not me. I might be able to sit beside her, but it kind of just negates the whole my time with skin to skin. So in that, while I was sitting, and while it was more so later when I was at St. Mike's, I knew that nothing was there for me to just quickly grab. Like I needed to pump. And if I needed, a quick granola bar to fuel me to pump and then sit for my 2-hour feed, I didn't have access to that. That was nowhere unless I brought it from home. And I would sit and I would chat with the other moms in the pumping room. And I would say, I wish that they had, even at, there was no vending machine even. So a vending machine or something that I wasn't just going for a chocolate bar or a bag of chips. And sometimes you do need that, we all want that and crave that. But I was really looking for something like an apple or a granola bar, or really like an electrolyte drink, just to keep me going. I was waking up every single morning, taking care of my 2 kids, sending them off, going to the hospital, spending the entire day at the hospital, but then to make it home to have dinner with my kids. And then my husband, we tag teamed, and then he would go. And for many, many days in a row, people would say, are you eating? Are you drinking? Like I had my water, but I really wasn't concerned about myself. And only after I left was I wishing that I was more concerned about myself, because it would have made my experience just that much better. And so that's kind of what led me into this snack support initiative. I want to be able to ensure and help comfort moms who are pumping and nursing, or, families that are visiting, and, younger siblings or older siblings, to be able to have access to that, to have complimentary food and drinks. It was a no-brainer for me. And that's kind of what led me into it.
So talk a little bit about those first discussions that you must have had with, whether it was your husband or your friends, or who did you first say, hey, I'm going to start this whole foundation?
I said to my husband, this experience changed me as a person. I knew that I wanted to find purpose in, kind of why we went through it. And I said, I'm going to reach out to a few friends that I know that have brands, snack brands, and see if, they will come on board. I knew I wanted to give back. So initially, I actually became a milk donor right away. And once I submitted my donation. And then I joined the parent advisory committee in order to make, a difference there and to connect with more NICU families and just be, somebody's shoulder, an ear to listen to. So I did that really quickly as well. And that experience alone was great. And it kind of I am now co-chair of the PAC for next year. So it's amazing. And I'm so blessed to be a part of this community. And then the snack bar, I said, I'm going to do something more, something bigger. It didn't feel like I was done yet. So I reached out, I made those initial phone calls. I spoke to a few of my friends and they were like, you can do this. How are you going to do this? You have a date, but I did it. And when I reached out, the initial conversations were not what I thought that they were going to be. I didn't think that I'd have 5 brands that were like, of course, right away. And I did. And I just told Sinai, I spoke to the NICU manager and I said, I'm willing to put the work and to do this. And he said, okay. And on February 3rd, I went with my entire car stacked with snacks. And I knew in order to make it sustainable, I would have to go to the source. And that's when I kind of partnered with a snack distributor and I had those conversations with him in early March. And now it's been 6 months of consistent weekly snack drops and the help and support of the staff and social workers to help me replenish the snacks. And, there's 24/7 access to healthy food.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And not only did you come up with this idea, get something going, get a process in place, you then created a massive fundraiser.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the carnival that you just had.
So the carnival was Carnival for Care, and it was incredible. It blew my expectations out of the water. I had spoken with the foundation in March, and I said, in order for me to sustain this and make this a long-term implementation within the hospital, I need to fundraise and I need to blow it up. And so I told them I'm going to have a fundraiser and kick off Carnival for the summer. And they kind of were like, okay, we're here to support you. Let us know what you need. And from that moment forward, we worked kind of hand in hand with the representatives there. And I was able to secure the venue. And once I did that, I knew that it was game time. And so I planned and I executed the Carnival for Care, and we raised to date nearly nearly $44,000. I gave myself a $50,000 goal for 2025. So I'm certain that I will hit my goal by December 31st. And those funds will help me grow the snack bar and be able to hopefully get more brands involved and just really take it to the next level.
That's fantastic. I'm so thrilled for you for how quickly this has all come about. How does it feel to be sitting here saying you've almost reached that 50,000 goal for this year?
I'm so blessed. I'm so proud of my drive, and I really believe in what it is that I'm doing. And the testimonials and the messages, and even face to face when I'm with the families every Wednesday, I know that it's an immediate impact and it's really making a difference. And that in itself, it makes me so happy, that they have this and that other people in other NICUs reach out to me and want it. It just proves that there's something here, and I'm just going to work really hard and have patience in order to kind of get this going. And hopefully one day it'll be accessible to all the NICUs or all of the environments within the hospital where people do spend longer periods of time. I think that there should be support for those families, and something as simple as a healthy snack, it's a no-brainer.
I think it's so important for us to have those moments to focus on those things that, in our day-to-day lives, they are simple and they are easy. And to realize that, yes, once you're in a different environment, that's not the same. And that, it can be something as simple as finding healthy snacks to give to people that can really make such a difference, not only in their experience, but for yourself as well.
For sure.
I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about that, about how you think this fundraising initiative and giving back is part of your overall Preemie journey.
I think that my journey, everybody's journeys are different, obviously. I mean, it as a Preemie mom, this entire experience, it just sticks with you. I think that hearing, people at the NICU reunion, for example, saying their stories, or speaking with somebody that's in the NICU, just being a parent buddy, which I also am. And I know that I can help, and I want to do everything in my power to do so. I think that when I was there and I wasn't taking care of myself, I saw what it was doing to my body. And, I know that now when I talk to people that grab their Rice Krispie square before they're going to nurse, and they say, thank goodness for you. Like, thank you so much. Like, these are the conversations that I'm having when I am present in the hospital. It makes everything worth it. Like the fundraising and, me putting myself out there in these types of situations and asking people to support me. It's hard, and I won't stop doing it. And I know that with the right people and the right team behind me, Arielle Snack Bar will go far.
I wonder if you could share a little bit around that kind of process piece of it, because I'm sure there are some people who are watching now or are going to watch in the future and be like, oh, yeah, I want to do something and I don't know what it is or how to get started. What advice can you give, or what, without giving away all your secrets and knowing that a lot of it really does come down to each of our individual personalities, how we do something like this. But for someone who is kind of thinking, how do I start something for my NICU? What can you share with them?
I think that it's funny because it is the type of person, I think, a lot about how I've done this in such a short amount of time. It is just my personality. The closest people to me are not shocked by what I've been able to accomplish, which is it's a beautiful compliment. And I'm so grateful. But to somebody that has, the grit and, wants to get involved and make a difference, I say to you to follow whatever that passion looks like, and don't be discouraged if you don't get the answer that you're looking for right away. I'm not going to sit here and say, every brand has said yes to me, because that's just not true. I think for every no that I've gotten, it's just pushed me that much harder to go get the next yes. And I think that as long as you are patient and you really trust and believe and follow your passion, then you will succeed. And there's no secret sauce. It's just pick up the phone and go right to the source. I'm a firm believer that an email is great, but if you can get to have a personal conversation with somebody, those are going to be your greatest types of conversations. I think that anybody that I've been able to connect with in person or over the phone, you build that trust and that relationship with way sooner and way more in depth than you would via email. It's very easy to just write an email. Not a lot of people want to pick up the phone and be a little bit more vulnerable. Whereas I I am that. Like, I prefer to chat with you and to explain why I'm doing this and why I believe in it and how it's making a difference. So those are kind of my only tips and tricks, I guess, if you will.
I think they're fantastic, and it is so important that, yes, don't take no as a no from everyone. That's a no
Exactly.
from that person who said it in that moment, and
You
to
never
keep
know when
going.
that no will turn into a yes. And it's funny for me. It's only been 6 months. So really it's true. And truthfully, it's really only been, um, I'd say like 5 months of me really working with all of the brands. And yeah, like some of the no's are, oh, I could do it now, but not in the future. And, anything that I can get is I'm willing to accept. And it's the generosity of these founders that are keeping me going. Everything right now is based on a donation. And I'm looking, for those corporate giving and the companies and the brands that they see the mission and that they believe in what it is that I'm doing and they want to work with me because they want to help change lives. So don't take no for an answer. Whoever's out there looking and listening, you could do it. I believe in you and you should believe in yourself.
Love that. Speaking of donations, you do have Sari asking if they want to donate to Arielle Snack Bar. How can they follow your journey and how can they donate?
So right now, the only way that we would be, or I would be accepting donations is through the website, through Mount Sinai Hospital. So if you just, Google search Arielle Snack Bar Mount Sinai, my donation page and website will pop up. It's attached to the Sinai Health Foundation at the moment. And I do have my Instagram page, which is at Arielle Snack Bar. And the link is also in my bio on Instagram. So everything that I'm doing, the Carnival for Care, just, all the updates that I make, my snack drops weekly, everything is housed in that Instagram page and on that website.
And it's a very fun website, Instagram page to follow as well. We also have a question from Sandy who's wondering, about other things that a mom might need for support in that transition from NICU life to home. And, it hasn't been all that long since you've had that experience and you've been dealing with a lot of parents who are still in the NICU. What are some of the other supports that are important for that transition?
I think the support is probably different for every mom or every family. Some obviously top of mind, just when you are transitioning, I would say having some sort of contact or connection with, a buddy. Sinai does a really great job with their parent buddy program. I wasn't actually a part of it. I graduated from St. Mike's. I did not have a buddy. I did transition home, and I kind of found my answers by, inquiring about the pack and all of those things. But I would say having a support system in place with a buddy, somebody that you can connect with that understands exactly the shoes that you're about to walk. I think the transition from NICU to home is emotional. It's overwhelming, especially if it's your first baby. My husband and I often talk about, what would this look like for us if this wasn't our third child? Like, what would we have needed? How would we have overcome that situation? I think talking with your partner or your friends and your family, for me, it heavily relies on the communication aspect of it. For the physical pieces, I'm looking to provide kind of a discharge package, if you will, where the snacks and the brands that I'm working with can also help you once you leave the hospital. That is something that I'm planning, especially specifically at Mount Sinai Hospital. But other things that I would think of top of mind, just kind of ensuring that you have built that confidence in yourself. I think that whatever that looks like, if it's I don't know, keeping in touch with the social work team at the hospital or the doctor or nurse or anything like that. Once you've entered home, once you leave that environment, it's scary. It's very scary. You don't know kind of what to expect at all, and how you're going to act with people coming to your house, and all of the sorts of things. I'm sure you can relate. I think that you just need to be really confident, really confident.
Yeah, no, I do relate with everything you're saying. And I think, that sense of connection, some people have it in their community to begin with. Other people need to find it. And, that's part of what, Preemie Chats is all about, is having these kind of conversations and letting people know, even if you do feel alone because no one in your circle understands Preemie world, there are, communities of us everywhere around the country and around the globe that, now thankfully with, the power of media, we can find each other and support people. You don't necessarily have to physically be in the same space the way you used to, which is so powerful. It's funny when you talk about that, wanting to create a bit of a discharge care package of snacks. The one thing that I always say when people ask me about, like, what should I get for a new parent, especially, or, someone coming home from, after the NICU, I'm like, food that you can reheat and eat with one hand. 100%. Like that. That's what I would stock after my first child. That's what I learned. I had a cousin who showed up with this big bag of frozen fatayas, which were like hand pie, type things. And it was just like the best meal ever. Yeah. I think every new parent should have this, like, a freezer full of things that have protein in them that you can reheat and eat with one hand.
100%. I think it's the same, like kind of like a doom's loop, if you will. Like, when you're in there, I want to be there while you're going through the thick of it, right? I also want to be able to go with you when you leave. That's the goal, is to be discharged and to get out of there and to go home. And so that, I am really working on something where it's not just an in-hospital kind of help and support, but that, you'll be able to rely on me in other ways once you kind of leave that environment as well. But yeah, food is the one thing where I believe that it brings people together, and I see it with my own eyes when I am in the hospital, that everybody, some people even started bringing in treats for families in the family lounge at Mount Sinai. And it was because of kind of what I'm doing, and they see that it's working, and more people are taking, 5 minutes out of their day to just go focus on them, or to talk to somebody around them, and to give themselves that, like, okay, I can go take a drink, or I can have a snack also. I don't need to stay cooped up in the four walls of my baby's room the entire day. Like, it's okay. So I'm really happy that it's kind of becoming a new way at Sinai. Like, I've almost like allowed people to feel okay taking care of themselves as well, like while they're taking care of their baby.
Well, like you say, and it's so important. It's so powerful when you see someone else do it, and then you feel like, oh, it's okay. No one is expecting me to just sit here all day long. Yeah. People do want me to go and, take 5 minutes for myself, and it's okay. And those conversations that can happen when two people, go to get a muffin at the same time can be the foundation that changes everything for your experience.
100%, 110%. I didn't have that when I was there, but I want to help create that for the current families and for future families. Like, it's a very big part of why I chose food. And also a big part of, what we're working towards as the PAC as well. Like, we really want to encourage parents to, be okay leaving the room for a little bit, because it's a lot as a mom, especially if you're pumping and you're nursing, and, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot on one person, let alone on the family. And if you feel like you're being supported by going to take a snack or going to take 5 minutes or have that cup of coffee without feeling the need, a lot of why I chose the family lounge obviously is because it's only like 10 steps away from the NICU. So you're not having to wait for the elevator and then to worry about missing something in that 20 minutes because sometimes there's a delay. You just have to walk, a little bit down, go to the lounge, grab your coffee, take 2 minutes, take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, and just know that everything is okay and that it's allowed. It's encouraged. It really is.
It's so empowering to hear people share their stories. And I think like you're doing to highlight, we each have a different path that we walk when we go through this NICU journey, but we all also have those things that overlap. And I think that, each one of us, every time we tell our story, it helps someone out there with something they're going to go through. Have you talked much with your older children about what it is you're doing? Do they have a concept of what you're doing?
Yeah, my son he understands that I am helping families through snacks. We all kind of rock our merch and rep my logo, and he's so proud. Like he tells his friends that my mommy works in the hospital where my sister was, and she, brings food to people. Like he doesn't fully understand that it's like a snack bar, and he thinks maybe I'm giving meals, but he's definitely understands that I'm giving back. Same with when I was a milk donor, he really understood, that I was giving back to the babies that need it most. And my daughter, she's a little bit still too young, to be honest, to understand. She just asks me every Wednesday if I'm going to the hospital that day because I put on my little lanyard. And so they know like Wednesdays, it's like, we got to be on our best behavior in the morning because mommy has to get to the hospital. So I think it's very sweet. But as my son, he's going to be 6. So he definitely sees, and we've always instilled in giving back and donating, and, his toys, we often just circle through and he, puts some to the side. This is for the donation bin, or some clothes. And he'll say, this is for the donation bin. So they understand. And I'm very grateful for that as well. I love all they want to do is come to the snack bar and see it in action. So at the carnival, I made sure to have a mock snack bar. And the brands graciously donated for my carnival as well. So I had a large majority of the brands of snacks that I carry in the hospital. And they were showcased very similarly to how I do it at Sinai. And what's the date today? In a couple weeks, I'll have my actual physical display unit that was kind of made to measure in this space. And I'll be sure to have a nice ribbon and cut that ribbon and be so proud that, this is going to be a lasting snack bar at Sinai. So stay tuned for that. Anybody that's listening, you'll be able to watch that on my Instagram as well. But my kids they're really proud. My husband is also so proud. Same with my friends and my family. I kind of said it before that they weren't surprised that I would be able to actually pull this off. I'm still surprised that I was able to accomplish what I've accomplished in such a short amount of time, just given my life and my schedule. But it doesn't feel like work when you're this passionate about something. And I think it's special. I wake up and I just want to do this, and I want to watch it grow, and I want to get a new brand, and I want to connect with more people. And I've been connecting with so many NICU families, not even from Sinai. So it's really, really, it's a really cool kind of initiative that I started where it's physically housed at Sinai today, but I'll hopefully be able to offer this to other families at other NICUs in other timeframes, hopefully. So it's cool.
That's fantastic. And you have some fans who are online watching as well today and thanking you for the work that you're doing. I think you're going to end up touching a lot of people with an initiative like this. So
thank you.
And I want to thank you for taking the time to talk about it today. Is there anything that you would like to say before we wrap things up, and any thoughts you want to share with people?
No, I of course want to thank you for your time and thank you for the opportunity, and thank everybody that's listening or going to listen. And obviously reach out to me if you want to be involved in any capacity, whatever that might look like, or just to chat. I'm very open and willing to discuss anything and talk about experiences and just be there. So I really appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for starting this and for sharing it. And I can't wait to watch and see what happens as you really dig in and grow this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's been watching and joining us today. My guest was Kayla Schwarz, who's the founder of Arielle's Snack Bar. And she mentioned you can find them on Instagram. If you just look up Arielle's Snack Bar, it'll come up for you. It's fantastic. You can follow along with everything that they're doing. You can also follow along with our account, Canadian Preemies, and you'll get reminders of our Preemie chats that happen every week, as well as our fundraising activities and all kinds of great resources. A reminder that you will be able to find a replay of our discussion today on our website. That is canadianpreemies.org. They're on your screen. If you enjoyed watching this, if you think there's someone in your world who needs to see this and hear what Kayla's doing with Arielle's Snack Bar, please take a moment to share it with them. And a reminder that we are here every Friday afternoon doing Preemie chats, and that we are a charitable organization, and it's thanks to our sponsors and donations from people that help keep this program going. You can find information on how you can donate to Canadian Preemies at the website canadianpreemies.org, and you can join us again here next Friday afternoon for another discussion. I hope that you'll be able to do that, and until then, I hope you take care.